Morning, Rebels. Gonna kick things off today with some personal news. I'm turning 29 in a couple days. Happy birthday, right? Um, Other than that, Digital Girlfriend is out. I think it put it out a couple days ago. So check that out. I'll put a card up here. Definitely go give it a listen. And let me know what you think. I was thinking earlier today, just talking with a friend of mine about like the general state of the world and where things are at, and 2021 is off to a better start than 2020, I guess, but it's things aren't really back to normal yet. It's like kind of still shitty. So I just figured, just in my shouting out to the void here, just ask, how's everyone doing? Let me know. I'm getting by, of course, just trying to stay busy, but everyone's kind of handling this shit differently, and it's definitely not the best of times, but, try to make the most of it. Anyways, I'm going to get into it with an album that's really one of my favorites. It came out in 2018, We Will All Be Gone by Good Tiger. And they are a group that formed out of like numerous other bands, one of which was the Safety Fire. I believe both of the guitarists are from that band, and I was a big fan of them too. They were very prog metal-y. But Good Tiger is a pretty awesome band. Like, they've got this just a wonderful dynamic, and this album in particular I wanted to highlight because it really shows like where they kind of hit their stride, I'd say. They had released an album before that. I think it's Head Full of Moonlight, I want to say, is the name of it. Or maybe that's a track off there. I don't know. Not 100% on that, but and that album was all right. But they really definitely like nailed it on this album, and it is just filled with awesome, just beautiful, clean vocals, lots of just like proggy goodness, interesting riffs, and just got a really bright and pleasant character to it. It's really definitely worth a listen. Absolutely awesome album. They also released an album recently in 2020 that was Raised in a Doomsday Cult, and it's a little bit more strange, but not in a bad way. It's definitely enjoyable. I just wanted to talk about We Will All Be Gone because that's definitely my favorite for sure, and I love every track on that album, so definitely give that a listen. Next, I wanted to talk about Hades, and I'm sure many people have probably heard of this game already, but it is awesome. I just recently recommended it to a friend of mine. I've played through and beaten it, and I've countless hours into the game. It's a roguelike game where death is essentially part of the story, and I think it's really just like tastefully done. It's very engaging. There's a lot of replayability in it. The developer is Supergiant Games, and they're responsible for Bastion. I think they made Transistor too. There's a couple of other titles of theirs, all of which are pretty enjoyable, but they really killed it on this one. It is definitely deserving all the praise that it's been getting. It is an awesome game and a lot of fun. You play as the son of Hades, and you are trying to escape the underworld because fuck you, dad, basically. And it is just like a non-stop murder fest, and it's really fun. Like, you get different boons from deities and whatnot that kind of alter your runs and your playstyle on them by giving you different like status effects and various like ways to change how you fight. There's also an interesting system for meta progression, so that as you continue to make runs and you develop I don't remember, darkness I think it is like the experience kind of, you unlock additional abilities and things that kind of help make your life a bit easier. There's also various different weapons to choose from, and yeah, it's definitely it's fun. It's a good game, and they bring in interesting mechanics later in too that really help kind of, they can really, like, you can set your challenge level essentially for it, for like what you're willing to endure. Some are more masochistic than others. But yeah, recommend that. I also wanted to talk about Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. It's a book that I stumbled across actually when I was wandering through my local bookstore with a good friend of mine, and it just happened to be sitting there laying at the top of a stack, just kind of in the middle of nowhere in the store, but it caught my eye, and I'm glad it did because I really love it. So it's written by the author's name is Shunryu Suzuki, and he is responsible, well, he's not the only person, but he's definitely one of the big people who brought a lot of Zen philosophy to the Western world. He was really kind of popular in the 1960s, I think it was, around when he was kind of popularizing stuff. and kind of bringing like actual Zen philosophy back to the kind of bastardized Western kind of version that we had kind of come up with from our own studies and whatnot. And he really helped kind of refine it and bring it back to its wholesome roots, I guess, whatever you might want to call it. But it's definitely an excellent introduction to Zen philosophy. The book itself is like a collection of like talks that he gave over the course of his teaching. You can best summarize this, and it's actually a quote from the book where it's, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few. And that really kind of summarizes the idea that, as people grow and develop, they not just get stuck in their ways, but also kind of tend to think that they know everything. Like, not in the literal sense of it, but, you take for granted the stuff that you already have a very firm grasp on, and just kind of discount, having to ever like approach things from a fresh perspective again. So the book is really big on trying to instill that mentality in, always maintaining the beginner's mind and always being able to keep your mind like, flexible and open to new ideas, as opposed to, thinking you understand or, assuming different things. And that can apply in any, realm of thought, but this book in particular focuses on Zazen practice and meditation. I've been meditating for probably about a decade at this point. It's definitely, I wouldn't say it's a consistent thing of mine. I have ups and downs with it. But it's a really enjoyable and fulfilling practice once you get good at it. I definitely recommend getting into that and learning about it as you can. The biggest thing to note is that with Zen philosophy is that there is kind of like a paradoxical nature to it. And, I wanted to just compare that, I guess, to the rational mind, which a lot of people, especially in Western culture, really kind of thrive in that environment. That's like really all that people learn to explore. And there's a whole world beyond that. There's a lot more that you can kind of gather from, setting aside the notion that everything needs to make sense or you have to understand all things, and just kind of just experience. It's a hard thing to really describe, I guess, thinking about it, but it makes more sense as you study it more, and you just kind of get used to what like psychologists call the state of flow, where it's just like everything is coming from nothing. You don't have this deliberate thought about every action that you make, or whatever it might be, or whatever thoughts arise just kind of flow through you, as opposed to constantly being analyzed through this rational lens. And there's a lot of things that they don't really make sense in the same way if you think about them rationally. That's why it's like spirituality is really kind of, I'd say, taken a beating over the past few decades, just because of that, like people's inability to really to grasp ideas like that. And like I'm a pretty big atheist myself. I'm not going to try to sit here and preach about higher power or anything, but it's a matter of like opening your mind and seeing what you can learn from other sources. Because if you rely only on rational knowledge, you're limiting a huge swath of knowledge that exists out there about what it is to be human. Philosophy, the big questions about the world, like why. And I'm not gonna I can go tangential on that and just kind of go down a rabbit hole. But anyways, a good starting place is definitely Zen Mind Beginner's Mind. It's an awesome book, and I can't recommend it enough. Okay, I think that's just about everything I've got for today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below, and if you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe, follow me on Twitter too. That's at AWW_gods. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace.